profound incarnations in Bhagavatam who is giving us detailed information of what's called a world view. In our contemporary language, it's called a world view. You understand? Because if you don't understand the world view, if you don't understand the world view that you are living, and if you don't understand the world view that you are going to, you won't progress in bhakti. Because you don't have a direction. It's like a ship without a rudder. It's like a boat without a mast. Because it's very important to understand the world view that you are living in. The whole panoramic view of the world you're in. And it's also important to understand the world view that you are aspiring to go towards, which is Golak Vrindavan or Vaikuntha, wherever your nature is, wherever you will be comfortable. Because you'll not be forced into a part of spiritual world, you'll not be forced to be a Vaishnava or a devotee in spiritual world just because we have kantimalas and tilaks and dhotis. We have to develop a kind of mentality and psychology. Then depending on our nature of our relationships and rasa, you'll be placed in a particular part of spiritual world. So it's very important to understand the worldview that you are in and the worldview that you are directing yourself towards. You understand that? So Sankhya gives that perspective. Do you follow so far? So now you may say, this verse is talking about a yogi. You may have seen the previous verses. This verse is talking about a yogi because a good scripture, a good text should cater for every kind of psychology. We cannot be fanatics. Whatever I like, whatever my rasa is, whatever encourages me, whatever motivates me, doesn't necessarily have to motivate everybody else. We all have different tastes. You have an irreplaceable connection, indispensable, inexpendable, irreplaceable connection with Krishna. Every single person of you. Every single living entity has an indispensable, irreplaceable connection with Krishna. This is a fact. You understand? So it's very important to understand our nature. So work on our psychology. So Sankhya start explaining our worldview, the ontology that we are in, the nature of existence, the nature of material nature, the material elements, whatever our bodies are composed of. How on the God's planet did we end up in this mess? And what our directions are. But a good scripture should also cater to everybody's requirements. So in the same way, some people are very, very interested and inclined towards yogic life. So this part of Sankhya philosophy is providing a teaching to yogis. Yogis in the sense people who like to meditate, people who like to live secluded lives, people who are nirjana bhajana, secluded meditators. So this part of the Sankhya is providing that. Though it's not a complete Sankhya if it hasn't catered to everybody. So you may say, wait a minute. You always said that Bhagavatam is a science. Bhagavatam is understanding psychologies, Radhika Prasad. But why are we getting all yogic about this? Why are we getting all secluded and yogic and, delving into our, deep into the hearts and yamas, niyamas and pranayamas and yoga? But you need to always remember, when things are confusing in Bhagavatam, you refer to Bhagavad Gita. When things get confused in Bhagavad Gita, you refer to Bhagavatam. That's how it works. So Krishna says right in the first beginning of the 5th chapter is Sankhya Yoga Pratak Bala Pravadanti Na Pandita. Ekam apyasasav samyak ubhayor vindate phalam. So whoever says that Sankhya and Yoga are different, who don't see unity in them, Bala, they're childish. Ekamapyastito samyak ubhayor vindate palam. Even if you follow one path correctly, you will eventually be able to merge and see the unity in both. And then he says, Yat Sankhya prapyate sthanam tad yogair abhigamyate. Ekam sankham cha yogam cha sa pashyati ya pashyati sa pashyati. One who sees them as together sees correctly. So Sankhya and Yoga are actually not different. At some point, when you understand the worldview, when you understand your existence, when you understand the nature of the spiritual world, we have to come to the point of a yogic life. And one of the best yogic lives is the Bhakti Yoga life. And someone may say, oh, why? Okay, Hare Krishna is always, always Bhakti Yoga is very important. No, I can actually do this systematically and academically and prove to you that Bhakti Yoga will turn out to be the classic and the most heartfelt yoga in any other yogas. Because the way to the unlimited beloved Krishna, Radha and Krishna, the way to this unlimited beloved is through the heart. And Bhakti Yoga is the most heartfelt yoga. In that sense, Bhakti Yoga is the most pleasing. So Sankhya eventually has to come and culminate in Bhakti Yoga. If it doesn't culminate in the Bhakti Yoga, then it doesn't remain heartfelt anymore. But the path of Bhakti is heartfelt. It's tailored individually. It's not a prejudicial, biased philosophy. It's a heartfelt yoga. So that's why Bhakti Yoga, it's not because we are the best. It's not like that, It's not coming out and say, oh, yeah, we are the best, No, that's not the point. The point is being realistic. The point being heartfelt. The point being inclusive. The point is about love and connection and relationships. That's what the spiritual world is about. Spiritual world is about love, relationships and connections. It's not isolated, selfish, seclusive, on your own development. That's not how it works in the spiritual world. So that's why Sankhya has to eventually culminate into Bhakti. Bhakti is simple. In simple, it's not so complicated. Bhakti is a path of love. Love for anybody. Don't put people in boxes. Did I say that before? Don't put people into karmi boxes or gender boxes or male boxes or female boxes, Mataji boxes or, and then limit them in there and then, judge and that's not how it works. So bhakti is love for love. It's a love where you serve, you get more. The more you serve, the more you give, the more you get. This is the best economics. The more you get, the more you give, the more you get. So do you want to give more? Yeah? Sounds fair, doesn't it? Why not? So that's Sankhya. So it has to culminate to this. So now let me go into the shloka, because I don't want you to go and ask for refunds. Okay. So let me do the shloka. Apicha darshanam. Apicha darshanam. So in these words, the yogi, Kapila Muni is giving directions to the yogi, what happens once you actually get perfection. Once you become a perfect yogi, what are the results of it? The results of it is you have an apicha darshanam. Apicha darshanam means a pleasing encounter with Krishna. The whole preparation and initiation into this ISKCON movement, the whole reason you come to the Krishna consciousness is because you're preparing for an encounter with God. You're preparing for an encounter with Radha and Krishna. It's a preparation of encounter. So when you go, some of you may have taken Dikshas and you may have new names. It's a preparation, like I saw recent initiation of our best friend Manakrita Das Prabhu. So, glorious name and glorious initiation. So, when you get initiated, it's not like you wear a badge and you're on your way to the Goloka and then that's mine. The seat is there for me. No, that's not how it works. When you get initiation, you are preparing for an encounter with God. So be prepared for being completely astonished. That's apicha darshanam. Apicha means the darshan is going to be so pleasing. You already have a pleasing darshan, right? But the only difference is we haven't still been able to have darshan of Radha Gopinath in our Atma position. That's the problem. We have Radha Gopinath is there's no doubt about that. Okay? Krishna is there. There's no doubt about that. Don't delude yourself. Okay? The Krishna is there. The point is, have you been able to see Krishna in your Atma form? That's the question. So apicha darshanam is when you have this darshan, this encounter with God, it's apicha. Apicha means very pleasing. It's beautiful. So this needs to be contemplated a little bit. Because as a practicing spiritualist, as a wannabe spiritualist, someone who is still going through the gradations and is in introductory and basic stage, there's two problems. One is apicha. One, first to accept that God actually has a form. Right? Apicha darshanam shashvat. One, the problem is God actually has a form. Because mostly we are acquainted with physical forms and geographical forms of this planet. And they seem to be on prima facie, on appearances, they are very limited forms. I might appear like a subcontinental South Indian kind of guy, and someone may appear in some other sense, someone may appear like an Australian, and we have a true Britisher here, UK, Bhakta Ian, the palm, preparing for the ashes, are you? So, the apicha darshanam, it's a pleasing encounter with God. Yeah. So when you're starting to be want to be a spiritualist, what the first problem we encounter is that depending on our upbringing, it's very hard. Once we see different bodies, it's because we've already seen material bodies, and we think any body, any form has to limit someone. That's how our mentality works. And so a wannabe, a practicing introductory spiritualist, by default, he sees God as some formless power. That's a default first step. That's a default first step to see God as some kind of formless power. But here, in this shloka, Kapila Muni is saying you'll actually see a form of God. Now some people say, no, Hare Krishnas don't understand. I'm always on the roads with books. Some of you may know. I was all day yesterday, I was all day the day before. I'm always on the streets. People see me, they know me. He's the guy with the books. And I always get this counter from people. Hare Krishnas they always talk about God as a person, but when you're a person, the idea is that a form is limiting someone. That's the idea. But I can actually logically prove that's wrong. I'll logically prove to you that saying that the form limits a person is incorrect. Form doesn't limit a person. Do you want me to tell you how? Technically, logically? Say if I'm sitting here and you wanted to hear a nice Bhagavatam class, and I just sat here and I just went, there's no form in my sound. I'm just doing, and then I turned around and said, or there's no form in my sound, right? But I give a pleasing form to my sound. I say, apicha darshanam shashvat sarva loka namaskritam santam vayasi kaishore bhrutyanugraha kataram. I gave a form to my words, to my sound. By giving a form to my sound, did I break the boundaries and limits, or did I limit my sound? Did I surpass the limits, or did I actually limit it? I surpassed the limits. Didn't I? So, if you say form limits someone, that's completely illogical and incorrect. Because I just proved to you. By a formless sound, you had no clue what I was doing. But when I said, sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, all of a sudden it comes into a form. And form actually broke the limits of sound. So to say that form limits a person is completely illogical. Because if anything, form, if I bring a box of paint and I throw it on this floor, it's just formless, right? But if I take the same paint and do a nice art of Radha Krishna, did I break the limits of form? Or did the form break the limits, or did the form limit my possibilities? It broke the limits. So saying that the form limits a person is completely illogical. So one thing people have problem with to understand, because when they see devotees, the Kerala story, right? The lady goes on a little bit of a rampage that we have. No, that's not the point. Please understand, don't let this kind of silly stories confuse you. When you see a form doesn't limit God, a form breaks the limits of what God can do for you. Because God can exchange relationship with you. God can reciprocate your love. God can be very pleasing. God can be very beautiful. God can fulfill all desires of both women and men. So, brahmacharis, you won. You understand? Matajis, you won. Because God can please both Matajis equally and Prabhujis equally. And Grihasthas like me equally. So God, that's God. It doesn't limit. The form of God doesn't limit him. Get this point. Please understand. Form of God doesn't limit God. Please understand. The sooner you understand this, the better it is. Because your life will not remain the same. When you understand the God, your life will not remain the same. Which is the reason, let me go through the list of every time God appears, right? First time God appears in Bhagavatam is to Narad Muni. Right? But this time he only appears as a sound. Yeah? And next time he appears to Brahma. Similar story. Brahma goes, he has this Chatushloki, he does tapa, and then he sees God, he's walking into the Vaikuntha Loka. Krishna comes out, he shakes Brahma's hands with same apicha darshanam, pleasing form, pleasing. He says, how are you, my friend? It's been so long I haven't seen you. And the next time God appears is to Karda Muni. Right? And the next time God appears to Dhruva Maharaj. And the next time God appears to Prithu Maharaj. Encounters. Is that right? And the God appears to Hamsa Guhya prayers to Daksha. Right? And then in the 5th canto, there's all this God going on, God actually appearing in each and every part of the whole creation. See, this is the fantastic beauty of Bhagavatam. When you read Bhagavatam and you come to the 5th canto, if there is any delusion in your mind that this is some sectarian, this is some sectarian Hare Krishna thing, no, it's not. Because when you read the 5th canto, you will see every single planetary system, every single mandalas and universes or worshipping Krishna, it's not just us. You getting the point? So it's very important to understand the aspects of God. It's very important to understand that He doesn't limit, the form doesn't limit it, and is very beautiful. By the 5th canto, you already seen God, encounters of God, like at least nearly about 15 or 18 times. Hamsaguhya prayers. And then God appears to Chitraketu. Right? Then God appears to Bali Maharaj. Then God appeared to Kumaras. Sorry, I missed that. Brahma Kumaras. So the encounters of God, and in every single encounter you will notice Bhishma Dev. Yeah, that's another encounter. So in every single encounter of God, it starts, I'll guarantee my bottom dollar in the wallet, it says Apicha Darshanam. The darshanam was pleasing. It was beautiful. So I said there's 2 problems, right, that we have to surpass and overcome as a spiritualist. The first thing was form. Yeah? So are you now convinced that form doesn't limit God? And are you feeling encouraged that you want to have an encounter with God? You want to do it? You want to have an encounter with God? Say yes. Yes or yes? Yes. Do that. So that's the preparation. You have to prepare for an encounter with God. We are not in some religious sect. We are not some indoctrination religion. We are preparing ourselves for an encounter with God. Yes or yes? Okay. So, the next problem is, once you encounter the form of God, the next kind of a hang-up that you have to overcome is the beauty of God. You have to encounter the beauty of God. Because if you don't encounter the beauty of God, if you don't estimate the beauty of God and encounter the beauty of God, you will never be able to release yourself from the attractions of this world. When I'm saying this world, I'm not saying this world of Maya, this Kali Yuga. No. Let's not get into that, okay? When I'm saying the world of sense gratification. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to sit here and do the karmis and the Kali Yugas and all this. No. What I'm trying to say is, you won't, unless you understand the pleasing beauty of God, we will never be able to overcome our attractions to our sense gratification, our general attractions, our mental attractions, our intellectual attractions. You'll never be able to overcome that. You have to get, at least theoretically understand, that's the ultimate attraction. And I can prove that logically. You want me to say something about this a little bit? Your life will never be the same. So, what are the 3 most important aspects of the spiritual world that you usually hear? They are 3 aspects of spiritual world. Oh. Okay, who was the one who answered that? Well done. That's okay. So, 3 aspects. So, you can go around the whole world. You can go to Oxford, you can go to Harvard, you can go to Princeton, you can go to Cambridge, Stanford, anywhere. And you can read the most, like the pristine scholars. Okay? I was recently reading David Bentley Hart. He writes about experience of God. Very interesting book. Experience of God. Initially when I took the book, I thought, oh, that's a bit pretentious. But he's got some points, good points. So you go to the highest academies, they can only, I'm I'm not talking like a fanatic. I've gone through a real good part of these people, okay? I'm not talking like a fanatic. I'm just giving you the truth. They will only get you to the part of Sat and Chit. Sat is the beingness, the existential, your existence. What is it to be like you? Only you know that. What is to be like you? Only you will know that. The existence, the beingness. What it is to be like you, only you know that. You understand? So the beingness of you, the Sat, okay? And the next is the Chit. The Chit is conscious, knowledge, being aware. So any scripture you go, they will go around you, take you like really dig deep, and they'll make really solid points about experiences of God. But they will end at Sat and Chit. They won't actually come to the Ananda part. They are not able to do it. Why? Why? Because Ananda, your bliss and your Ananda, regardless of you in being in a physical body or in your Atma position, will only be evoked when you're in connection with a beautiful form of God, with a beautiful form of your source. Unless you come into touch with this knowledge, unless you come into touch with a beautiful God, a beautiful source of yourself, the Ananda will never come, because the intentionality, you have an Atma, you have an intelligence, you have a mind, it has to be directed. And unless it is directed to a pleasing, beautiful, benevolent, kind, merciful God, your source, you will never come to satisfaction, sukha and peace. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya nacha ayuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayana yashanti ashantasya kutas sukham. Krishna says, Nasti buddhir ayuktasya. Unless you come in contact with this pleasing beauty of God, you will never be pacified in that Ananda platform. You will only keep getting from the academical point of view, from people's own research point of view, you will only get to the point of Sat and Chit. But you will never be satisfied in the spiritual world, you will never be satisfied in the material world unless you experience some joy, some peace, some happiness, some pleasing beauty of your source of God. You will never relinquish your grip on your sense gratification. Doesn't matter if you're a Mataji, doesn't matter if you're a Brahmachari, doesn't matter if you're a Grihastha. You'll never release your grip on your sense gratification unless you come into firm grips of the beauty of God, pleasing beauty of God. These are the two problems where spiritualists fail. The spiritualists fail when they haven't got an understanding that God has a form, and form does not limit God. If anything, it breaks His limits. Because He is able to present Himself in connection with the way it pleases you. Remember the 16,000 palaces in Dwaraka. He presented Himself with the way each of the queen were pleased. It wasn't one Krishna. It was 16,000 Krishnas. So He presented Himself in each unique form that appeased and appealed and evoked the emotions and bhakti of that particular queen. So if anything, form breaks the limits, form doesn't limit God. That's one thing. Second, unless you come into the grip of the beauty of God, We've been endowed with beingness, with existence, right? We've been endowed with consciousness. In the same way, we have also been endowed, donated with being attracted by pleasing forms, by ananda, by experiencing ananda when you encounter a form. So this part of the Bhagavatam is explaining that the form of God is, first, God has a beautiful form. Second, you can actually connect to that. And once you come to that platform, your life will never be the same. You will never be able to relinquish your grip on your sense gratification. I promise and guarantee you. Sense gratification is overrated. Sense gratification is overrated. Once, please wait until you get into you go to Krishna. Please have some patience. Okay? Don't let your mind, chase and make you run around your senses. You come into a bhakti life and let your senses and mind follow you. Don't let your mind and senses take you on a ride. Don't follow your mind and senses. Wait and have some patience until you understand, at least estimate the form of God, and let your senses and mind follow you, not the vice versa. Then your bhakti starts. Then it's consistent, then it's atut. You understand? Then you get to the Abhija Samadhi. Now we are all on Sabhija Samadhi. We still have little traces, little anarthas. Yeah? Little bits and, impurities. But wait until that Abhija Samadhi, na Bhija Samadhi, no Bhija. Wait until that encounter. Be little patient. Don't let your senses take you for a ride. Be little patient, calm down. And wait until that blissful connection with God. This is a movement that is preparing you for an encounter with God and helping others for their encounter with God. Because the more you give, fantastic. Good crowd. Thank you very much. Okay. Did I read it, purport, or not yet? I didn't, right? I didn't. Okay, I better read it. The word Sarvaloka Namaskritam means he is worshipable by everyone on every planet. There are innumerable planets in the material world and innumerable planets in the spiritual world as well. On each planet, sorry, I'll just silence my phone. Sometimes it just rings in the middle and it's annoying. I usually do before I come here. Okay. Where was I? On each, the Supreme Lord is very beautiful. Okay? Okay? Because you couldn't have beauty or you couldn't appreciate beauty if you didn't already have a prior experience of beauty of God. You couldn't have consciousness, you couldn't have an existence if tadekshati, saekshati, tadekshati. He sees, you see because he sees. You exist because he exists. You have beauty because he has beauty. You appreciate beauty because he appreciates beauty. You understand? Think about these things carefully. Yeah? So, the Supreme Lord is very beautiful. And the word Shashvat is significant. It is not that he appears beautiful to the devotees, but is ultimately impersonal. No, we spoke about the impersonal, right? It is a personal bodily form of God. Shashvat means ever existing. That beauty is not temporary. It is ever existing. He is always youthful in the Brahma Samhita. it is also stated. Advaitam achyutam anadim anantarupam. Advaitam achyutam anantarupam. Adyam purana purusham navayanam cha. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham. Atma bhakto. Govindamadi purusham aham bhami. Very nice. So, I want to take a few minutes to go through this verse. Is it okay? Advaitam. Okay? The good news is that we are monotheists. Yeah? Don't go by the Kerala story. The lady was a little... We are monotheists. You understand monotheists? Monotheist is one God. Because the criticism that Indians and the Vedic civilization, not from scholars, but the social general people, the criticism we get is that we have 330 something millions of gods or something. It's rubbish. Because the same Rig Veda that declares those gods also says that Tad Om Tad Vishnum Param Padam Sada Pashyanti Suraya. So the 330,000 or crores or whatever it is, that's the angels. That's the people that are under him administrating. But even Rig Veda, the Aitira Upanishad, which is a natural commentary of Rig Veda, the first statement is Om Tad Vishnum Parampadam Sada Pashyanti Suraya. Even the suras, the angels, the higher beings, they're all looking at Vishnu. So we are monotheists. We are not polytheists. Okay, we need to understand that. If we don't educate ourselves, the reason people criticize is because we haven't educated ourselves. So we can't fault them completely. Yeah? We can't fault them. We haven't educated ourselves. Om tad Vishnum parampadam sada pashyanti suraya. Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartate. He's again and again and again and again and again. It is absolutely personal monistic book, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So we are monistics. So Advaitam is one God. There's no second God. All the other people you listen to are his assistants, angels. Yeah? And for example, you may say, okay, well, what about Rama and Krishna? Why are they two gods? That's only one God. Just caters to different yugas. He's just catering. What's our problem? It's his universe. He wants to cater to different people like in a different... yeah? What's our problem? What do you have a problem with that? It's his house. He can come in any uniform he wants. He can come in any outfit he wants. What's your problem? What's our problem? You understand? So I actually know a scholar, an Arabic scholar, a very good scholar. I actually edited some of his works. I edited his books, Hidden Hymns. Anybody read Hidden Hymns? Yeah? Oh, I should have brought some copies. I was one of the chief editors of this book. Anybody know Exodus? Anybody read Exodus or Bible a little bit? No? Okay. Maybe some people listening on the online may have read it. So I'll just go through quickly. There's a part in Exodus where Moses is one of the patron saints of the Bible. So he takes all the children of God, all the people of God. He's going on a travel for 40 years from Egypt, and he's taking them up towards the promised land. And the first encounter he has is on the bush. God comes in a bush as a fire. And then God just speaks and Moses asks him, who are you? And God says, I am who I am. I am the Adi Purusha. I am who I am. And then throughout the Exodus, Moses is always speaking to God for instructions. And God is riding on the cloud, and the name of that God is Yahweh. He's Yahweh. Yahweh is the living God. Yahweh is the God he's a living God. That's what it means. So throughout the 40 years of his travel, Moses, God would there's a cloud that was always hovering over them because it was a desert. And people would dry up and die because there's not much water. So there was always a cloud hovering them, and it said that God was always riding on that cloud. And I actually know an Arabic scholar. I'm not trying to prove anything here, but I heard an interesting aspect that he actually proves that that there's actually no difference between Yahweh and Vishnu. I don't know, I cannot prove this, but I heard an Arabic scholar that actually with linguistic anthropological history showed to me that actually there's no difference between Yahweh and Vishnu. That was actually the god of warrior, the god of wars, Vishnu. And what happens interestingly, every time Moses would ask God that I want to see your face, I want to see you. God says, you will see me. They build a tabernacle like a temple. There was a most holy place, there was a holy place, and there's a kind of a front yard area. And only Moses was allowed to go to the most holy place. Anybody who went, attempted, two blades would come and cut those two birds, cherubim, and slit their throats. There's only Moses and his brother Aaron could go in there. And every time Moses asked, I want to see you, God would always come with an effulgence on his face, and Moses could only see when God is passing from behind. He could never see the face of God. So, the reason I gave this story is the form of God has always eluded and has always been a mystery in every religion, every theology, to every saint around the whole world. So Advaitam is there's only one God. He comes in different aspects. He may come as Yahweh to some other geographical people. He may come as Buddha to some other geographical people. He may come as Rama to some other yugas. And he has come to us as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is our God. Yeah, he is our God. Without coming to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, without understanding his heart, without understanding Nityananda's mercy, without understanding Nityananda's heart, I promise you, we'll never understand spiritual world. It's a fact. The rasas, the forms of God, your individual connections with God, the parampara system, the epistemology, the yogamayas, how the yogamaya works, how the incarnations of God works, his vilasa forms, his vaibhava forms, as Advaita Prabhu, Paramatma, Sadashiva, as Nityananda, the Sankarshana, the holder of the universe, as Swayam Bhagavan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Gadadhar Pandit with a rasa, as Srivasa Thakur, as a devotee. When you don't understand the tattva like that, in this form, guiding yourself to the Advaitam, the monotheistic God, spiritual science will always elude us. It is a fact. So, how are we going so far? So far, so good? So you're happy to go, you're happy for an encounter with God? You're going to prepare yourself for an encounter with God? Please do that. Every action you're doing, every activity, every endeavor you pick up, first question you ask, is this endeavor, is this activity, is this practice, is this religion preparing me for an encounter with God? Doesn't matter if you're a yogi, doesn't matter if you're a jnani, doesn't matter if you're a bhakti, you have to eventually come in a loving union, in a loving bhakti unison with Radha and Krishna. That is the sum and substance of spiritual science. I'm not saying this as a fanatic. I'm talking with proper analysis and logical, rational reason. Yeah? So Advaitam Achyutam. How much time do we have? So I said I was going to go through the words. Achyutam is very interesting. Achyutam means God doesn't transform, God doesn't fall. We as living entities, when we go into the world, when we seek and when we are interacting, we have a tendency of transforming and either being contaminated or transforming due to the effects, to the external effects of our encounters. But God doesn't transform because of an encounter. God doesn't add or deduct because of an encounter, because of his interactions, because of his movements. So Achyutam means Advaitam Achyutam. There is no transformation in him. He is completely perfect even after donating everything he has to you, everything to us. He still retains his capacity. Yeah? Anadi Mananta Rupam. Anadi means he doesn't have a beginning and he doesn't have an end. God doesn't have a beginning, God doesn't have an end, means you don't have a beginning, you don't have an end either. Because you are part of God, remember? So we are all parts of God. So you don't have a beginning and you don't have an end either. God's story will not be complete without mentioning you. Because why? Mamaivamsho jivaloka jivabhuta sanatana. If you are part of God, so God's story cannot be completely explained without mentioning you because you are his part. Does that light up your day? Is that something to light up your day? You are part of God. So he is eternal, you are eternal. Natve vaham jatunasham natvam neme janadipa sarve vaya. Very good. So you have existed, sun and sunshine, they always exist. So we and God always existed. Doesn't come a point where God comes into into laboratory and then put some things and shabang, you come out. If you're part of God, just as a sunshine is part of sun, you're always part of God. Does it make sense? Does it light up your day? Okay. Nava Yavanam Cha. So Purana, I can go on this verse for 2 days, but I'll stop going on that. Okay. Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Nava Yavanam Cha. Purana, he's also old, and also Nava Yavanam, always new, which means he's not bound by the. Fantastic. Very good. We have a good crowd today. Thank you very much. So he's not temporal. In English, what that means, he's out of time means he's not temporal. So usually when people say eternal, they only think about eternal means there's no end. But you also need to understand that there's no beginning. Because when you understand God doesn't have an end, you left half of him out. You left half of him. He doesn't have an end. So Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana, the oldest, Navayavanam Cha, and always maintains his novelty, his freshness. Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamham Bhajami. So this bhakti is so nice. It's beautiful. So you become bhakti yogis. You prepare yourself to encounter for God. And you give others an opportunity for an encounter of God. That's what this life is about. This life is not about building equities, building empires, properties. That's okay. Have just enough to maintain your life. I'm a grihastha. I made enough to make sure I have a peaceful life. So do that. But it's not about the multiplying of our wealth or multiplying of our fames or opulences. The point is about preparing yourself for encounter with God and giving others the opportunity. Always in little spheres, whatever little sphere we are in our own little bubble, in our own little sphere, always give others an opportunity. Because that is what spiritual world is about. Spiritual world is not about me going in front of Krishna and going, I want to give. No. Spiritual world is about letting everybody else go to Krishna. You are somewhere sitting at some kund somewhere by yourself, completely neglected and nobody knows you, and all you're happy with is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. And you know what happens? Krishna comes to you. You let everybody go to Krishna. You don't want to be the front center. You sitting somewhere completely neglected, completely nobody, who knows nobody kind of guy, sitting in some kunj in the corner, some part of spiritual world. All you're interested is just chant Hare Krishna. And what happens? Krishna comes to you. Did you see the dynamics? The more you give, the more you get. So is this beautiful or what? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
Fantastic. It looks like I've made an on-time arrival here. So, let me read the rest. The Lord's facial expressions are always indicate that He is ready to show favor and benediction to the devotees. It is a fact, read the whole Mahabharata, it is a fact that Krishna served Arjuna more than Arjuna served Krishna. It is a fact. Throughout the first day they met at Draupadi's Swayamvara, all the way to the end, Krishna served Arjuna more than Arjuna served Krishna. It is a fact. Krishna is more anxious to love you than you are anxious to love Krishna. This is a fact. So He is not some jealous God. If you don't love me, if you go to other gods, I'm going to come on you with a fire of hell and I'm going to put you in hell and I'll burn you and I'll wake you up, so I'll burn you more. I am the jealous God. That's tribal monotheism. That's not proper monotheism. That's not philosophical monotheism. You know who I'm talking about, right? I'm the jealous God, right? So no, that's not what He is. Krishna is not like that. He's completely happy. Yeah? Okay, so He's more keen to love you than you are. We are keen to love Him. Please understand. He loves you more than we can ever love Him. That's a fact. There's only one person who beats Him in love, that is Radharani. And that's the reason every head has to bow down in front of her. So as you hear the word Radharani, you bow down. She's the only one who can beat Him. Nobody else beats Him. Gopis and Radharani. Only they beat Him. Nobody else can beat Him. Yeah? So, He's silent. However, for the non-devotees, He's silent. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, although He acts equally to everyone because He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead and because all living entities are His sons, He shows special favor. The same fact is confirmed here. He's always anxious to show favor to the devotees. Did you see? Just as the devotees are always eager to render service unto Him. The Lord is always very eager to bestow benedictions upon the pure devotees. Okay, so sadhunam hridayam mahyam, sadhunam hridayam toham, madanya tena janepi, naham teno, manam tebhya, naham tebhya. Fantastic. Ooh. Very happy to be today here. Very, very glad. So, sadhuna mahyam, sadhu, I am in the heart of sadhus and sadhus are in my heart. They don't know anybody other than me and I don't know anybody other than them. That's the love of this Krishna conscious movement. So, please take this seriously. Please ponder on these subjects. Please prepare yourself for the encounter for God. Please prepare everybody around you, your children, friends, families, societies, communities. Take them back. Show them the way back to Krishna. Show them the way back to Radha and Krishna. So, who wants to take this Bhagavad Dharma out into the world? How many hands do we have up here? Yeah? Please, in your own little spheres. You don't have to be... Prabhupada is different. He is a Shaktavish avatar. We don't need to pretend like... Don't get too pretentious and don't try to become Prabhupada or something. In your own little spheres. Your daughters, your sons, your mothers, your fathers, your friends, your communities, your societies. Wherever you are, Australia, India, Africa, America, doesn't matter, New Zealand, wherever you go, in your own little spheres, give everybody this opportunity. It's a great sacrifice that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has done. Yeah? And he's given this to us completely I don't deserve, but he gives this. So now we become the vehicles to pass this. We become the vehicles, the power engines. Bring the energies, bring the enthusiasms. Not for us, for the love of others. Because love wins. Love prevails. Bhakti is love. And love of God is the greatest love you could ever imagine. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namah. Anybody has any questions or comments, or if something was out of whack or you thought, Prabhuji, that was too dry, I'm happy to take a comment or even corrections. Any questions? Yeah? No questions? Okay. So it's good. Yes, please.
You mentioned about Ananda. Is that my true nature, or that is invoked when I see the Lord of form? Is that time that true nature which is in me comes out?
Very good. Krishna, Nitya Siddha Krishna Bhakti Sadhaka Bunoy Shavnadi Shuddha Chitta Korayudaya. So the question is, just in case people are on the videos, on camera, the question is the love of God evoked by the encounter of God or the Ananda, or has it always existed in us? Both. It has always existed in us, but now we are covered. Avritam jnanametena jnanina nityavairena kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena nalelnacha. Krishna says, Avritam jnanam. For now our knowledge of God, our connection of God has been avrita, has been covered. This process of Bhakti Yoga is to discover. The discovering process of our Ananda. So there is a requirement of some jnana on the way. We cannot completely ignore jnana. So this knowledge helps us, the Bhagavad knowledge, the Chaitanya Charitamrita knowledge, the Mahabharata knowledge, the Bhagavad Gita knowledge, helps us to discover that hidden treasure that we have. The hidden treasure in us. It helps us discover. So we always had it, but we lost it. But when we come in contact with devotees, we cannot get direct in this material world. Devotional service, the bhakti love, has to be given to you by someone who has it. So that's the reason we are always emphasizing that you have to be around devotees. Because devotee can give you love of God. Once a devotee gives you love of God, and then you have God, the the pass. That's the preparation of encounter of actual God. But the encounter of a devotee is no less an encounter with God Himself. We never underestimate our encounter with our spiritual masters or devotees any less, because they will take you. How can we get what do we have to get God, love of God? But a devotee can give you. So that's that little encounter, that donation from a devotee of love of God. You take that, you catch that. So you have to be in the circle of devotees. You have to have a lifestyle of devotional service. The whole life. It's not about what we do in the Bhagavatam class and in the temples. It's about what we are doing outside and away from the temples and in our personal lives. Where does our finger go on the phone? You understand? Where does our eyes go in the shopping malls? Where does our eye go when we are in the street? You know the movie The Matrix? The Morpheus says that, anybody watch The Matrix? So Morpheus is the guru and Neo is the disciple. They are walking and this beautiful girl walks by and Neo just gets distracted and says, and Morpheus says, did you see that? And the disciple says, see that, watch again. And he turns again and then he's dead. So, what I'm trying to say is, it's not about what we are doing in the temple, it's not about what we're doing in front of the devotees. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. What do we do when we are away from what lifestyle? It's a lifestyle re-engineering, as my Gurudev always says. What do we do away from the temple is affecting our bhakti all the time. What do we do in our personal life is always affecting bhakti. So, bhakti is 24/7. Okay, there's no such term as too much bhakti. I don't want to shock you, I don't want to scare you, but you can gradually improve. If it's not, if someone is not at that stage now, I'm not scaring you, okay? I'm not scaring the dust out of you. But what I'm trying to say, you can get to that part. Bhakti is not 2 hours a day, bhakti is not 3 hours a day, bhakti is not 5 hours a day, bhakti is not 10 hours, bhakti is 24 hours a day. It's 24/7 business. Yeah? Then even when you're sleeping, you see your spiritual master. When you're sleeping, you see the characters of Bhagavad. Even when you're sleeping, you're seeing the characters of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Even when you're sleeping, you're seeing your devotee friends. It's 24/7 bhakti. So bhakti is 24/7. It doesn't have to stop. Don't stop it. If you can. If you're not at this stage, I'm not scaring the dust out of you. Okay? Please understand. I'm a Sankirtan devotee. I can show all the patience in the world, and I'm not perfect anyway. So who am I to judge? Yeah? So that's it. I just wanted to please express my gratitude for everybody to be here and tolerating my dry philosophy for just about over an hour now. Sunday, you could be doing so many things, but you were here patiently listening to me. So I really, and you were serving Bhagavad. So serving Bhagavad is not normal, okay? Please understand. It's a unique opportunity. So I really want to show my gratitude for serving Bhagavatam like that, and also obviously tolerating my dry philosophy, and hopefully I'll return the favor at some stage. I promise. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki